r/TrueOffMyChest. My partner is pregnant by another man. Story 1. Now, I'll keep this short because I'm planning to head to a bar soon. I found out when she was about 6 months pregnant. A guy named Brian approached me at my workplace. He asked, "Are you Sarah's boyfriend?" I replied, "Yeah," and inquired about what he wanted. He told me he was sorry for sleeping with her and swore he didn't know she was in a relationship, although I had my doubts. Then he pulled out his phone to show me their text messages. Apparently, they had been involved for at least a year. When she became pregnant, they agreed to pretend the baby was mine. In exchange, she could maintain her perfect life and he wouldn't have to take responsibility for the child. I knew something was off. We had been struggling with infertility and suddenly she became pregnant seemingly effortlessly. However, he explained that he had been reflecting on his life and had recently converted to Christianity. He couldn't bear to live knowing I was living a lie while his child didn't know their real father. So I told him I'd stay in touch and advise him not to reveal anything just yet. I had a lot of time to think, but ultimately I decided to wait until she gave birth to confront her during her most vulnerable moment. I'll spare you the details, but she went into labor and our baby was born, immediately being taken to the NICU for monitoring. What should have been a beautiful moment of holding my child turned out to be the most heart-wrenching time of my life. Knowing that he wasn't mine was agonizing. After she was stitched up and comfortable, I began packing my belongings to leave. She asked where I was going and I simply told her, "I know I'm not the baby's father. Don't act surprised, just ask Brian to come. I'm sure he'll sign the birth certificate." Then I left. She's been relentlessly calling me and sending texts as I type this. She even got her sister to call me a few times. It was tough pretending these last few months, but I think I'm content now. I feel incredibly heartbroken, though. I had planned to propose to her on the day our baby was born. I was going to make her the happiest woman alive. Oh well, I'm going to get wasted now. Small update, my head hurts, but I'm home and safe. I didn't expect this post to gain as much attention as it did, but I'll clarify a few things. If the baby is Brian's, he will be a part of their life. I don't care what anyone says, I'm certain the child isn't mine. I'll get a paternity test, but Brian and I have been in contact since last night, and there isn't a doubt in my mind. For those of you calling me names, I don't really care. You'll forget about this post in a day anyway, while I'll have to live with this for the rest of my life. What I did wasn't great, but I don't care. I treated her well, and this is how she repaid me. If you think this is fake, go read something else. It doesn't matter to me. I totally get why this guy decided to leave his girlfriend. I mean, come on. Who can trust someone after finding out they cheated, right? And now there's a kid in the mix and you're not even sure if it's yours? That's a heavy load to carry, and I don't blame him one bit for hitting the road. Just imagine discovering your partner lying to your face and is now pregnant with a baby you're pretty sure isn't yours. A lot of emotion sets in, anger, betrayal, and heartache. While it's noble to think about giving your girlfriend a second chance and being there for the kid, let's be real, not everyone can pull that off. People deal with these situations in all sorts of ways. Let's hope he finds a way to heal from this experience without resorting to unhealthy coping mechanisms like excessive drinking. We all have our own ways of dealing with heartbreak, and at least he's taking steps to free himself from this heavy burden and move forward in life. So if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, first things first, take care of yourself. Lean on your buddies and family for emotional support. Talking to someone you can trust can be a lifesaver. It helps you sort through your feelings and makes things a bit less foggy. Also, remember to give yourself some me time. It's crucial to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. Let yourself feel all the feels, from anger and sadness to confusion and relief. Dealing with these emotions is part of the recovery process. If you're in doubt about the kid's paternity and need to know the truth, consider a paternity test. It can clear things up and help you figure out what to do next. And if there's a chance of shared responsibilities or legal stuff down the road, chat with a lawyer who knows family law. They can fill you in on your rights and responsibilities. Eventually, try to aim for forgiveness, not for your ex's sake, but for your own peace of mind. Holding on to anger and resentment can weigh you down, and closure is key to moving forward. Remember, life doesn't stop here. There are plenty of opportunities for love and happiness down the road. Healing takes time, but with the right support and some self-care, you'll come out of this mess stronger and wiser.
Shh, here's a little secret for you. This video is sponsored by none other than me and my team at Rufus Rugs. We're the masters of creating custom, hand-tufted rugs that capture who you truly are. Whether you want to transform one of our intriguing thumbnails into a rug, for a friend, obviously, or you're craving a room makeover with awesome anime-inspired designs, we've got your back. Oh, and did I mention, each and every rug is skillfully handcrafted by me and my friends. No BS dropshipping gimmick here. You'll be blown away by your rug. Hit the first link in the description to learn more.
Story 2. I honestly don't know where to start, so I guess I'll go ahead. My husband and I started dating when we were both young. We've been married for 6 years now and have 2 kids. I'm currently 6 months pregnant with our third. 2 years ago, my world took a hit when I found out that my dad had stage 3 colon cancer. He's my only parent, as my mom passed away when I was still a child. My dad means everything to me. He's got this infectious laugh that can light up even the darkest days, and his bear hugs can magically piece back together any broken parts of your soul. Whenever I've had a rough day, he's there, not prying or probing, just listening and letting me vent. About 5 months ago, we got the devastating news that the treatments weren't working, and the doctor gave us a grim prognosis. Months, not years. Since then, my dad's health has been deteriorating and he's losing his memory. I watched in sadness as he looked at the dog he got me on my 21st birthday and asked, "Where did you get that nice dog?" Throughout this ordeal, my husband has been my rock. He held my hand and supported me through it all. He's been incredibly loving and attentive to both me and our kids. I'm a mother first, always, and I haven't allowed myself to wallow. My children receive the love, care, and playtime they deserve, and I've kept up with household duties. When my dad's prognosis worsened, my husband encouraged me to quit my job. About a month later, we found out I was pregnant again, and he assured me that quitting my job would save us a significant amount on daycare expenses, so I made the decision to quit. My best friend and I go way back, practically since diapers. Our families are practically one, and we've always been there for each other. After my dad's grim appointment, I drove straight to her place, and she held me while I cried for hours. If there's such a thing as soulmates and friendship, she was mine. We were thick as thieves, as my mom used to say. This morning, as I was up with my sick 3-year-old, I noticed my husband's work alarm going off. He has multiple alarms, so I turned one off and gently woke him up. He mentioned he had work late and was taking the morning off, then rolled over and went back to sleep. As I went to turn off the rest of his alarms, I saw a text from my friend on his lock screen that read, "I assume since there hasn't been an angry pregnant lady at my doorstep, you haven't told her about us yet." At that moment, time stood still. I took his phone and walked away, reading their conversations. To my shock, I discovered that for 4 months, my husband had been having an affair with my best friend, and they'd been lying to my face. I know what you're probably thinking, that I should have seen the warning signs, but for 2 hours, I've held his phone and there's been nothing. He's been just as loving and attentive as always, no late nights at work, no lingering touches or glances between them. They've been acting the same as they always have since I introduced them. How twisted is it that she calls him her brother while sleeping with him? I took screenshots and saved the messages before he could delete them. I emailed everything to myself using an old email I haven't used since high school, and I don't keep it saved in my apps. This way, if he goes through my phone, he won't find it. I'm not very good at lying or keeping a poker face, but since he woke up, I've been using the excuse that I'm upset about my dad and just need some space. He bought it. I also called around for a couple of lawyers and found one before he woke up, so I've been emailing them back and forth for the last half hour. In situations like this, people often have a moment of clarity, but I haven't. Aside from being devastated about my dad, I haven't changed. I'm still a loving wife and mother. I've continued to care for him and our children, and I inquire about his day every single day. I haven't allowed myself to crumble. I know what I have to do now, but I'm dreading it. I'm about to lose my family and my support system all in one fell swoop. I'll confront him tomorrow. Today, I just need one last 24 hours of peace. As for her, I won't dignify her with a response. I don't care why she did it. The deed is done. I was always a friend who cleaned up her messes, but after today, I'll cut her out of my life as if she never mattered at all. This is undoubtedly the most challenging storm I'll ever face, but I know I'll navigate it, if not for me, then for my children. Just a quick update on everything since my kids are now in bed for the night. I spent the morning gathering everything I could and making a checklist. I told my husband that I was getting things organized for my dad in my office, which wasn't entirely a lie since I did need to arrange hospice care. My boss would gladly have me back at work, but my lawyer advised me to hold off for now. However, my previous boss assured me that the door is always open and I could return whenever I'm ready. He doesn't have access to my inheritance from my father or my mother. My lawyer has made sure of that. I didn't mention her in the post, but my mother-in-law is an absolute angel. I love and appreciate her so much, and she's always been there for me. After my husband went to work in the afternoon, I asked my now ex-best friend's mom and my mother-in-law to meet me at my dad's house. My kids were playing outside with my now ex-best friend's older brother. I handed them the screenshots of the messages, sparing them from the inappropriate pictures and the videotape, although I did inform them of its existence. To say they were furious would be an understatement, and they are fully on my side. Angie, my now ex-best friend's mom, is ready to cut off all contact with her daughter. She kept apologizing and we hugged and cried together. My mother-in-law said she couldn't believe she raised such a spineless, terrible person. She told me that no matter what happens, I will always have her, and as far as she's concerned, she doesn't have a son anymore. She has a daughter. After a face-to-face meeting with my lawyer, we went over finances, logistics, and every detail you can think of. She has all the evidence and she's ready to fight. Since this post is now on TikTok, I don't want my husband to find out through an app because one look at the story and he'd know it's about him. With my lawyer's permission, my now ex-best friend and her mom and dad, my soon-to-be ex, and his parents will all be gathering tomorrow. While they're sitting down and showing them everything and letting them know that I'm aware, my dad, my kids, and my now ex-best friend's brother, who's coming to help me with the kids, and my dad, since being big and pregnant doesn't help with mobility, will be at my dad's cabin a few hours away enjoying some time and space. I know some of you may have hope for me to get revenge or engage in psychological warfare, but honestly, after my kids went to bed, I took a shower and just broke down. I don't have the strength or energy to retaliate. I just want out. Pretending everything was okay today was too exhausting, and I don't want to keep doing it. Once he finds out tomorrow, I'll provide an update on the aftermath, which I'm sure will be significant. For now, I want to thank each and every one of you for your kindness, warmth, and support. Your words have given me the strength to keep my head above water, and I appreciate every single one of you. Man, what happened to her is just heart-wrenching. I mean, think about it. She's pregnant, her dad's seriously ill, and then she uncovers this whole mess about her husband cheating with her best friend. Nobody should ever have to go through that kind of betrayal in a relationship, but sadly, we know what happens in this crazy world. No matter how you slice it, she's been utterly betrayed, and my heart goes out to her and her kids. They definitely don't deserve a husband and father who would do that to them. It's just heartbreaking to think of those kids getting caught up in this complicated family mess because of their dad's unfaithfulness. And you know what? We've got to give major praise to this woman for her incredible strength. Instead of crumbling under all this pain and uncertainty, she's been handling it with courage and grace. She didn't rush into confronting her husband or her so-called best friend. She knew that going all out right away wouldn't help. She's been so composed, so thoughtful about her feelings and actions, and she's played it smart. She's been keeping a lid on things even when, deep down, she probably wanted to just end it all. Her resilience makes her an amazing mother to her children. Let's hope she triumphs in her legal battle against her soon-to-be ex-husband and ex-best friend. I'm rooting for her to take all this experience and use it for personal growth, to cast aside all those negative emotions that must have surged in the wake of this incident. I really hope she and her children can move past this tough chapter and find a brighter, happier future ahead. Story 3. My son's friend's parents want to adopt him. All names have been changed to protect everyone involved. I am a 24-year-old single mom to my son. Let's call him Owen. It's just us since day one. His father isn't in the picture and has been able to avoid child support for years now. Yes, I've tried everything. My own parents disowned me. I had to drop out of high school and have worked a myriad of jobs since then to keep us afloat. We aren't on the poverty line by any means, but we definitely live paycheck to paycheck in a one-bedroom apartment. It's not ideal, and I hope within the next couple of years we'll be someplace bigger. For now, it's our situation. I've raised Owen to know that money isn't everything. We may not have a lot. He won't always have the newest this or the newest that, but we have each other. The two of us are very close. He has never gone without the basics, but I admit he doesn't get a lot of fun extras. I try to save a little here and there to make birthdays and holidays fun, but it's still never anything glamorous. And I think Owen is fine with that, until recently anyway. In our area, all the public schools are based on a lottery system, so your child has a fair shot of going to any of them, so long as you put in their name. Our neighborhood school isn't great and in a pretty crappy area, so I decided to put him in a different one across town. It's near my job, so it works out. Last year, when he was in second grade, he met Charlie. They began hanging out a lot after school, with Owen going to his place. I met Charlie's parents, Nate and Paige, a couple of times before this began. They seemed very nice and supportive, and Owen always had a great time at their house. Charlie occasionally came to our apartment, but usually they were at his place, which made sense. I work and there's not really much for them to do here, even when I am off. Summer breaks are easy to find care, as there are several free or low-cost camps that I can put Owen in. It's the shorter breaks, such as Christmas and spring, that are harder. Camp space is limited. Spring break of 2022, I managed to just miss registration. Now, Paige is a stay-at-home mom and offered to take Owen for the week. I was hesitant to ask so much of her, but she insisted. He had a really fun time with them. They did a ton of activities, and Paige refused my attempts to pay her back at least some. I couldn't afford all. I admit I did feel a tad uncomfortable with her spending this much on my son, but at the same time, I didn't want to deprive Owen of all this stuff. Summer came, and while I did get Owen into camp, he spent a ton of time with Charlie as well. He ended up going on vacation with them. I was again very hesitant, but the experience was something I could never give Owen, and it wasn't too far away, and he had a blast. I kept telling Nate and Paige that there was no way I could ever pay them back, and they kept insisting that they loved having Owen around. They told me what a great kid he is, sweet, respectful. At one point, I really pressed Paige as to why she was so insistent on having Owen around so much. That's when she told me that they never planned for Charlie to be an only child, but all attempts at giving him a sibling just didn't happen. They know that Owen will never make up for not having a brother, but if they can give him a consistent playmate so he's not lonely, they'll do it. Should this have been a red flag? Maybe. But at the same time, I found it sweet that the boys considered each other brothers. I thought it was innocent, and surely Paige and Nate knew the truth, right? So this continued for a bit, and come Christmas break of 2022, Paige and Nate insisted that I not even bother to try to get Owen into a camp. They take care of him for me, and I was grateful. They ended up getting him more Christmas gifts than I ever did. I tried to set my pride aside because it was about Owen, not me. This is still when things finally started seeming off to me. I understood a gift on his birthday, and while they didn't get him as many gifts as they got Charlie, it was a lot more than you would typically get your kids' friend. Fast forward to now, spring break was last week, and this time, Paige and Nate didn't offer to just take care of him during the day while I worked. They asked if Owen could spend the entire week at their house. Honestly, it meant I could pick up some more shifts and save up for the bike Owen wanted for his birthday, so I said yes. I went to pick him up on Saturday afternoon. The kids were playing out back, so Nate and Paige asked to talk to me. They sat me down and said they love Owen and he's always such a joy to have. I thanked them profusely for all they'd done for him. Paige suggested that Owen stay a little longer. I pointed out Easter was Sunday, plus school started up on Monday. They said they could take him to school. I felt weird and said no, it was time for Owen to come home. That's when Nate suggested that Owen stay with them long term. I could still see him, but they would take care of him. I thought they were joking and said, like what, you'd be his guardians or something? They got quiet and reality rushed over me. I pointed out that this wasn't a movie. They can't just get custody. They started spouting some legal stuff about how I could assign them as guardians and they would help make this transition smooth. They told me to think about Owen and what's best for him. I told them there was no way in hell I was going to give up my son. I grabbed Owen and we left. I've blocked their numbers. Owen has no clue what's going on. I'm keeping him home tomorrow and took the day off work to figure some stuff out. Legally, they can't take him, but now I know what they want and I'm terrified. I don't want him to go back to that school. Do we move? I'm so lost. And I feel so stupid because looking back, all the warning signs were already there. I know Owen is going to be devastated losing Charlie, Paige, and Nate. How am I ever going to explain it to him? Update, there's no way I can respond to everyone, so I just want to say thank you for the advice. While I understand those saying they potentially meant well and weren't trying to be offensive, it's still a risk I don't want to take. It's not like they offered to take him every so often. They wanted him full-time, permanently. To those who said I should just let them please pass me whatever you are on, I will never give up my son. No, we have our needs met. I love my son and I am not letting him go. As for everyone else, I took your advice and reached out to the school. I told them that Paige and Nate are no longer allowed to pick up Owen and explained I do not feel safe with them around each other. They understood. There's not much they can do outside to make sure they never pick him up. It's too late in the year to move classes, but next year, Charlie and Owen will not be in the same class. I notified the police, but again, they can't do much. We have 0 in writing, and a simple request to have my child isn't really breaking any laws. Unfortunately, all I can do is hope they don't try anything. I still haven't spoken to Owen. I think it's fine if he talks to Charlie and plays with him at school, but I have to find a way to explain why they can't have play dates or sleepovers anymore, as well as never to go anywhere near Nate and Paige. I guess that'll just have to come in time. I'll update you again if anything happens, and I'm hoping this is the end. As some of Nate and Paige's defenders said, they did take my no well, so hopefully they realize how totally out of bounds they were and leave us alone. Nobody should ever try to take a child away from their mom. I mean, come on, being a young single mom is no easy task, especially when you don't have much support from your own parents. But that doesn't mean the mom in this story can't provide everything her child needs. It started off kind of heartwarming, right? The parents of her son's friend offered to look after him when she couldn't. It seemed like a nice gesture, like a little village raising a child together. But then things took a seriously weird turn when they started pushing to adopt him. Their persistence was definitely a red flag, and I think it was totally the right call for her to keep her distance from that couple while still allowing her child to be friends with their kid. On the other hand, I think she should have a chat with her little one about the situation. Explain to him why it's not such a great idea to go for sleepover at his friend's house. As a mom, she has every right to protect her child and keep him safe. I mean, no good parent would ever want someone trying to take their child away from them. So, to all the single mothers out there, especially those having a tough time making ends meet and taking care of their children, know that there are people proud of what you do. Continue believing in yourself that you can do what it takes for you and your child to survive, no matter how hard the odds may be. You're doing an incredible job, moms, and your children are lucky to have you as their superhero. If you like these stories, I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss r/entitled parent. Parents decided to cancel my birthday. Story 2 was great. I'll catch you there.